Well, hey there, this is Jerry, and I'm getting started on another episode of What's Broke Today. And today I've got it's a 1966 Ford 3000 tractor that if you turn the fuel on at the tank, it will start dripping out of the carburetor. And if you turn it on, get it started, then you can keep running. But the thing is that once it does get running, it acts like it doesn't get enough fuel because you got to kind of keep the choke pulled out a little bit. So what I'm figuring is the needle valve in the carburetor is probably not sealing off, is causing it to overflow. And then age, it's probably got no telling what in the bottom of the fuel bowl. So we're just going to take the carburetor off, clean things up, and put a kit in it and see if we can get her running good. So let me get ready and let's get the carburetor off. Now for this, the first thing I'm going to do is loosen up these hose clamps and slide this, or attempt to slide this boot back. I don't know how well it'll slide because, this thing being as old as it is, and that's actually more pliable than I expected it to be. Well, I got a cat came up here to help me. Okay. So I got my little bit of gap here, and trouble came up to assist me. Of course, our battery cable, I think I can get out around it, but we'll loosen up and then once I get it somewhat off there, the choke cable, I'll be able to take it loose once I get the carburetor kind of down and out of the way. Light in there because I need to get the throttle disconnected, and I'm just going to reach around here on the back side and on the earlier tractors, you had to pull the thing back so you could unhook it. Well, this has a spring clip around it, so you just got to pop it off the back side. So not that big a deal. And then like our choke has a bracket on the side of the carburetor, and if you can get around this tube, you can get in there here and loosen the screw holding the cable to the carburetor. Just there's a nut on the back side, you got to hold that. It's hard to get up through the bottom and hit that screw because of this fuel bowl thing that's on the carburetor. And let me see if I can get underneath here and unscrew the fuel line from that, because I might need 2 wrenches, one to hold the fuel bowl end, and then let's what you doing there, cat? Well, we got our carburetor here now, and of course the first thing I'm going to do is, or attempt to do, I should say, I don't need to unscrew that out of the carburetor. I just need to take that line loose and get this filter off of there. Our sediment bowl, I guess, is more the proper term. As if you look inside, it actually has some water in it. And of course, here on the bottom, take this Phillips screw out. which, boy, that wasn't very tight. And pull this little bar off. And then we can pull our, I don't know, plug off the bottom. And then loosen up all our screws on our float bowl. 1 out of 5 that was actually tight. But I need to clean it because I think it's got junk up in the, where the screwdriver goes up in that, the Phillips part of it. But I'm going to run everything through the ultrasonic cleaner anyway. Alright, slide our float bowl down off there, and see, that was part of what I was trying to figure out on this is, you know, this gasket here is well, it goes on first, because they make this set up 2 ways, where that gasket is the bowl gasket and the gasket for, I think this is some kind of, I don't know, accelerator pump maybe. I never really ever found a good answer, but okay. Take this down, and when you pop this off, pay attention to how everything's put together so you get it back the same way. Okay, we pull this out, and I don't know. I need to do some research and figure out for sure what the heck this goopy thing is. But things I read before is like an accelerator pump, and how I think it works is using engine vacuum. So it pulls down when there's vacuum, and then when you accelerate it and the vacuum drops in the intake, then this goes up and squirts fuel. Was my basic understanding. So I need a carburetor kit where the bowl gasket and the that gasket are all one piece. I can get my pocket knife out and see if I can pull that pin back for the float hinge. At least to a point where I can grab it with some pliers. Pull the hinge pin out. And of course, got a spring on it. And then there's our needle valve. And I don't see anything up in the seat itself. But now I know I need to order. I can go ahead and get my kit ordered, because I need a kit that has this gasket as part of that gasket. So I get around and run this through the ultrasonic cleaner, and it'll look a lot better when I get it out. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get a carburetor kit ordered, and yeah, then we'll get this dude put back together. And I thought, before I dump this out, If you look inside of there, you can kind of see where in the bottom, that's all water. Well, we need to start getting our carburetor back together. And one first thing I needed to do was there was water and stuff in this. And when I took the bowl off, where the fuel comes in, there was all kinds of rust crud there. So I washed all this out, and of course our seal that seals that was not very good. So I was going to get my O-rings out, see if I can find something that will fit. And so let's go up here. Because I think this one's probably too fat an O-ring to try and stick up in there, but that's probably about right. So if we can put that up there, and because I don't know what originally was up in there, because it looked like some kind of rubber gasket. And that should work. Oh yeah, it's 15/16 inside with a 1 3/16 outside diameter, and it's a 1/8 inch O-ring. So, but that should take care of that. And then carburetor bowl cleaned up good. Probably the biggest thing is with all the junk and stuff, it took all the anodizing off and all the paint. And see, this kit is CKPN9590S. Or no, B. Okay, so I know is that okay, so that's a one-way check valve. And that jet looks really good. And it goes down here. We get a screwdriver to tighten these up with. It'll work real good. Okay, so that looks good. And our main body. And it's still, even after a couple rounds through the ultrasonic cleaner, it still didn't get all this junk off. But I don't know, this old farm dirt. And then, of course, we got our gasket here, which would go over that like that. That looks pretty good. But this hooks inside of there. And I think we'll put, well, that's supposed to fit in there, but that really don't fit. There's a little bit of lip at the top. Let's see if this, and that just ain't gonna work. Guess we'll pull that off of there. Pull that one off, and we'll just swap out, and we'll have to reuse the old one. That just shows you where this newfangled stuff that's made probably overseas, I mean, looks like a good part, should be a good part, but really isn't. And I think I'll blow some of these ports out real quick because I thought I had all the water cleared out, but apparently I didn't. Okay, got everything blew out with compressed air, but I just didn't do a good job last time. And we'll get our gasket on there. Okay, we'll very carefully turn this upside down. Get it lined up. Gotta get that down in its hole. Have our gasket all lined up. And then I guess we got 1, 2. I thought I put all those short screws in my cleaner too. We'll start out, we'll get this screw started so everything stays together while I figure out where I put the other screws. Oh, I didn't get them dropped out of my basket, so that was on me. Then we got to get that one there. Okay. And then put our needle valve in. Because the only thing this has adjustment for is low speed. It has a fixed high speed jet. And I have to review the camera footage to make sure how many turns out on this. Well, I'm going to just start out with a turn and a half. But I'll probably end up adjusting it anyway, so it isn't that big a deal. Of course, the kit came with a new one. I very rarely use them. Came with a deal like an accelerator pump. This carburetor didn't have it, so if it's not in your carburetor, we don't reuse it. And then there's our needle valve, and then our float. Our float spring, and our hinge pin. We got a new one of these caps, so we don't have to worry about reusing that one. Old needle valve. And then this is kind of the tricky part, getting that dang spring back in there and not dropping it. Actually getting it in there where it works. Because best I can figure, the spring is supposed to keep the float from bouncing or something. And of course I dropped it. Spring there. And basically all I did was hook that spring on the little ledge there and then fold the float over. And I made that look pretty easy, but normally it's not that easy. But we got that on there, and that looks just about right. And a lot of what I'm judging is the stains on the float, because I couldn't find the spec on the actual adjustment on that. So hopefully I don't have to pull that back off and readjust. But then we can take our bowl and just slide over the top. And I just run these up kind of snug. And I'm going to kind of do this like I would if I was tightening lug nuts on a car. Hit every other one because there's 5 screws. Alrighty. Then the last thing is a little plate with our cork gasket. That'll set in there like so. And then we got our metal strap that's underneath here and comes over. And then we got that screw to hold it down. And then this disc on this is kind of like our 8N. It's got the little kind of bronze filter screen mounted in it to so if it does get flooded out, it has a place for the fuel to leak out. So put this back on, and you tighten it good now, because once you get this on there, that's almost impossible to get to. Yeah, well, that's got our carburetor ready to go. Let me get some few things together, and we'll go put this back on the tractor. Okay, back at our tractor. Start with our carburetor, and we've got to get around our throttle linkage with the fuel line. Your fuel line back there. Make sure our throttle stays above that fuel line. And getting everything back around where it belongs. Okay. Okay. Everything angled around and then up in there. And then I'm going to start out, I'm going to put my choke cable through the little bracket or eyelet thing on the choke shaft. And then get it down at its bracket, which trying to reach around and turn things that you can't hardly get your fingers on is a pain, but when I get that up around there and started, I can go through here with my screwdriver and tighten that up just a little to keep the cable from popping out of the bracket. Okay, and that'll work for now. And then let's take and get a washer up there. filter up there, and let's get that nut started. That one being behind that tube is when big hands don't work good together. But we can get it started. I have barn cats come up to help. I'll go ahead and hook up my throttle shaft, which is just which is not easy as it sounds, but I gotta get up there and then get it up on that ball stud that's on the back side. Okay, looks like it snapped on. Throttle, got the goopy clip, got to get it. So this is where having that fuel filter that's back there makes this a pain because you can't really get your hands in here. See if I can get that fuel line maybe hooked up. Should have got it lined up in that fuel bowl a little sooner. Yeah, so I might have to get that air intake out of the way just because I think I can loosen. Actually, I might be able to get out of there without loosening anything. Cause that gets that down a little bit out of the way so I can reach up here behind that. Because I get my clip up there and kind of line it up with the hole and hold it with my thumb and use my finger on the back side and see if I can get it lined up with the hole like so, and then just reach in there and I can pull it forward like that and get it hooked. Okay, once I get it close, we'll put 2 wrenches on it so I don't twist that filter around. So that's that. Tighten these up some. Of course, tighten up evenly so they don't warp the flange. Because the manifolds, I think, well, it might be, they're both aluminum, the carburetor and the manifold. Because I can see the aluminum color. But that's good. Let's see if we can get that back up in there. Okay. Oh, I tighten that. I took that and slid it up there before I tightened. I got my tightened up that. But I think I go over the top and turn it. Not real well, but it is a turning. Got to watch I don't stab my finger when it slips. Okay, so that's good and tight. My biggest thing is I didn't get the wire going through the thing down there like I wanted to. But the good thing, you can reach up here and pull the cable out farther out of the housing up here. Okay. Get that lined up where I want it. I can push this back in and then open the choke. And hopefully go up here from the bottom. I brought the skinnier screwdriver that will fit in between that fuel bowl and that bracket. Hard part is when you turn a flat bladed screw and you can't see to get up on the screw itself. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now, there's no fuel in the carburetor, so even though I turn the fuel on, this has a fuel pump. So we'll turn the fuel on. I'll get up on here and crank it a little to get fuel up there. Okay, give a starter a little break. I want to look and see if there's fuel in that little bowl, and it looks like there is. So far, I see no leaks. That sounds really good, so I think I'll let it run and warm up a little, and then I'll adjust this low speed screw so we get our best idle, and then check for leaks. Well, got the Ford 3000 tractor all back together, starting good, running good, no fuel leaks. I don't remember if I mentioned that I did come out and crank it and purge the fuel line to make sure there wasn't no more water in the tank. But also forgot the owner had replaced the shutoff valve, so he'd had the tank probably dry. Because I don't know if you could change that without losing all the fuel. But yeah, I hit the key, it fires right up, idle's good. Did just a little more adjustment on the low speed screw. Then of course greased the Zerks for like the steering, and on the 3-point, the left arm that has a crank handle for adjustment was stuck. I got a big pair of channel locks that kind of work like a pipe wrench, and I'd sprayed it with rust penetrant. Once I turned it a couple, maybe 3 turns, with the those pliers, I was able to crank that thing and separate it, clean the threads on the screw with a wire brush, took the part that's on the 3-point arm and just held it up, put a drain pen underneath it, sprayed it and washed, the crud out of it with brake clean, put it back together, cranked it all the way up, made sure it made full travel in and out, then just greased it a little, cranked it down, greased it a little more, so I got a good chunk of grease in there that it's ready to go back. So I do appreciate you watching. Thanks for all those thumbs up for the likes. Appreciate all those comments you send me from my videos, and I'll say big shout out to everybody that has subscribed. I appreciate all of you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the videos. And if you're not a subscriber, join on in, because no telling what else you'll see on What's Broke Today. Thank you.